This video is about how to kite enemies and the spawn budget. Kiting is when you lead the enemies a certain direction around the map. Enemies are always trying to attack you, so will follow you wherever you go, and you can use this to your advantage. This video will mainly focus on kiting during normal waves, not during objective waves. So why would you do this during normal waves? Well, during a normal wave, you never want to be fighting all 8 enemies at once, because you'll die very quickly. Instead, you want to try and fight 1 to 2 enemies at a time. You do this by using as much cover as possible, and by leading the enemies around the map when you get overrun. So now I'm going to show you how I normally do this on Giant, but you can do this on nearly every map.
A strategic area has been compromised. Enemy forces are
So I'm just going to stay at the Giant extraction until I get overrun. I'm not going to kill anything. And I'm just going to fast forward it until that happens. It's around now I feel like getting overrun. So what I do is I run towards the ladder. I normally stay at the top of the ladder and wait until I get overrun there, but there's an engineer behind me, so... See a great spawn in there. So I normally stay here. Until I get overrun by something. And then I go to this room over here. Obviously you'd be killing enemies, but I'm not. What this does is it congests the enemies so they get stuck on each other, so you can almost like fight every enemy one-on-one. Say I get overrun here. I normally don't stay here because I get flanked easily, so I just run back to the extraction. And it's clear again because they've been following me around the map. That's basically how I do it. Now I'm going to explain what right-hand advantage is. So it's not always best to shoot things from cover, and there is a better way to kill things without getting hit. Here is an example. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit in cover and shoot it normally. And as you can see, the Prime is shooting me as well. Instead, a better way is to use the wall in a certain way that he can't shoot you, but you can shoot him.
all clear. Enemy is still active. Pyro!
So if you stay like this behind the wall where enemies can't shoot you, you'll survive a lot longer. Now I'm going to explain the spawn budget. The spawn budget is a set number that determines how many enemies you need to kill to clear the current wave. Each time you kill an enemy, it will take the spawn budget down a certain amount. And when the spawn budget is depleted, enemies will stop spawning and become very aggressive. On the screen are the listed wave budgets from wave 1 to 9. On objective waves, enemies do not have a spawn budget and will spawn infinitely until you finish the objective. And here is the spawn budget each enemy takes up in order. To complete waves as quickly and as easily as possible, it is not always best to go for the enemy with the biggest spawn budget. A lot of the time it is best to kill enemies that are the easiest to kill for the amount of budget they give. I would only recommend focusing on boss units if you can do things like this. So if it takes you more than 30 seconds to kill a boss unit, it is normally best not to focus on that and to focus on something that's easier to kill. Some good examples of these enemies are Ravagers, Brutes, Dragoons, Phantoms, and Abominations. So try to pick the best enemy to focus on killing each wave. Another good way to deplete the spawn budget is by rocketing a spawn. This is where at the start of the wave you run into a spawn point you think they're going to spawn, and then you shoot a rocket at the floor, killing every enemy in that spawn point. This should be done on the waves you'll have the most trouble with the most bosses, and you should only do this if you have the rockets to spare. As an example of me using a lot of the techniques shown in this video, here is wave 2 of my Geth Jade Platinum solo, where I avoid 3 primes the whole wave, just killing Pyros and Hunters to deplete the spawn budget.
Bogies incoming!
Processing. Pyro unit,